Hello, fellow critics. Today's topic is one that plagues me as much as it plagues the games that I love. It's the loot boxes and microtransactions. Now, I myself can say I have never, ever spent any money on a loot box. I've probably spent money on a microtransaction long ago. Can't say I've done that any time recently. It's been years since I spent it. I mean, I'm probably thinking back to Oblivion. We all bought that horse armor, right? But, yeah. It's a topic I've been wanting to address for the longest. And yeah, it affects all the games that we love, and I see it as one of those things where we need to call out the worst practices out there. And, because it does get worse, because the more we accept certain things, the more they push them, the more they see how far they can get away with implementing them in worse ways each time. And we all know this, obviously, looking at the Battlefront controversy of last year, but we're going to get into that. I'd like to start with a much more low-key one that just, I won't say they're completely low-key, but they kind of got away with it, which is Warner Brothers, with them publishing and having loot boxes in Shadow of War. Now, Middle-earth Shadow of War, that was a game that, I'm not going to pretend it was at the top of my list, because it wasn't. And a lot of people like to say that you shouldn't really be saying anything about what you like and don't like about it having loot boxes when they announced it, because at the end of the day, you weren't that interested in the game anyway. But if we all took that stance, then things would be a lot worse. I do believe that even if you had no interest in the game at all, and it's not that I didn't have interest in the game, it just wasn't a day one pickup. But I still like the original. I like the original one, the name is escaping me of the original one, but Shadow of Mordor, there we go. But getting back to it, yeah, like I said, I like the original one, but this newer one, Shadow of War, I was just like, and I'm pretty sure there's probably some game out there, but for me, this was the first one that I noticed having loot boxes, and in a single player game. And I was just like, okay, we gotta draw the line somewhere, because I know I had gotten used to this. This is something that people have accepted for the longest time when it comes to multiplayer games, and even there, I'm just like, it should not be accepted, especially with certain games like sports games, they gouge their players. They really just go at them. It's just like the casual market. Oh man, I look at that and I'm just like, if I was into sports game, boy, damn, I would have to stop playing them just because of how bad it is. But certain people are, they grew into this. They're fresh gamers, they're young gamers. They have no idea of a time where there wasn't these card packs, these random freaking drops you get to get players, or to get weapons, or to get items. They have no idea, so I can't really fault them for that. But looking at it, I'm just like, really? Now they're gonna bring this to single player games too? And I saw this as a huge issue, and I was drumming. I was hitting the, I was hitting the drums. I was freaking making noise. I was saying this is not right. this shouldn't happen. And of course, like I was saying, you had people that were just like, shut up, you're probably not interested in the game, what do you give a shit? And I was just like, that's not, it doesn't matter. And I do, like I said, I did have interest in the game, but that's not the point. The point is, it was not right. But this leads into the main thing, which is how these corporations, these publishers, they can actually hide behind other publishers, because I was looking at it, I'm imagining a ship, right? A spaceship, and it's flying along. You know, we got Warner Brothers. They're flying along, and they have, and, you know, they get Monolith. Is it Monolith? No. Yes, I think it's Monolith. Monolith that makes them, that makes the Shadow War game. Monolith comes along and says to them, "Hey, they spotted us. You know, they see what we're doing. They're about to start shooting. You know, like, so, you know, Warner Brothers says, oh, full speed ahead. Here comes EA. Right? Here comes EA with Battlefront. And they just kind of like pull their ship right behind them and just eclipse themselves. And suddenly, you can't see them. And since the internet is a certain way, people on Twitter, people in forums, it's almost like they can only focus on one cause at a time. Because as soon as Battlefront came along, EA came along with that controversy last year, it completely eclipsed the issue, the controversy behind Warner Brothers publishing a single-player game with loot boxes, which was Shadow of War. And I was just like, to me, yes, I can understand how the issue was huge with Battlefront, because we're not just talking about your typical, you know, you're not just talking about your typical, you know, loot box that they'll give you a few skins or it'll give you maybe one weapon or something like that. We're talking about a full-on pay-to-win system that was tied into the progression of the game. And looking into the future, even them trying to fix it by removing the whole pay-to-win aspect, by removing the fact that you couldn't buy these loot boxes, did nothing for the game, because the game was ruined already. Because the progression system was terrible. It was crap. It was tied to, basically, you can only progress by getting these random loot boxes. And it just ruined the progression of the game. Any interest I had in that game was just completely gone, because now the progress was just screwed. It wasn't just a matter of, it was a pay-to-win system, they removed the pay-to-win aspect, and now I can enjoy the game. No, the progression was crap. I did not want to play that game at all anymore. And, seeing the reviews and finding out that the campaign wasn't all that either, and it was a short campaign, it was over for that game. And we both know the backlash was bad. It was bad enough that this year at E3 we saw them apologizing. It was the apology conference. But yeah, and I'm just looking at them as these corporations, these publishers, they fly below the radar by hiding behind other bigger ships that they can get behind, and you can't see them anymore. And for Warner Brothers, it was EA. But then, there's other ships out there that are also flying below the radar, like Activision. How people let Activision get away with the things they do in their Call of Duty franchise. Yes, they might not be as bad as some of the practices from EA, which, some people might argue that they are. But they might not seem as bad as what EA is doing, but they're really bad too, and we have to shine a light on all of these different freaking bad practices with the loot boxes, because they're just going to get worse if we don't point them out, if we don't put a light on them. Because look at Black Ops 4. Now they're they're taking a page from Nintendo's book with don't know if anyone had heard about this, but when Zelda first came out, Breath of the Wild, they had decided we're going to have this season pass that you can't buy later on, that you have to pick it up now. Like, get it now, or you're not guaranteed you can get to this this content in the future. At least that's what they made it seem like when they first, launched they had like a special premium edition of the game. And it seems like that's what Black Ops is doing with its new COD. It seems like they're doing the same thing. They're taking a page from Nintendo's book. And it's just funny just looking at how these you just see that they're looking at what each other big platform is getting away with. Like, oh, they did this? Okay, cool. Let me try to see if I can get away with that. And it's just spiraling. It's just going to continue to get worse. And we need to really just not focus on just one thing, but really need to actually separate and annihilate. We can't just have Warner Brothers get away with doing what they did because EA did something worse. And we can't really just look at what Activision is doing. And Activision, is it just me, or does Activision get a pass with a lot of their really, really bad microtransaction and loot box practices? Like, because you just don't. It's like we're so used to seeing this from Activision that we're just like, oh, it's okay. We're used to it. It's Activision. Really? That's okay? Like, the more we get used to something, the more we should accept it. That seems backwards to me. But this is definitely a topic I want to hear some feedback from the community. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and point out some other, because I know there's plenty of other, publishers that are doing just as bad that I'm not aware of. Put them out there. Leave their name in the comment. Tell me their story and how they're flying below the radar, how they're hiding behind some other, bigger publisher or bigger controversy that's going on and getting away with what they're getting away with. Because that's the point of this video, to expose this kind of thing going on, to put a spotlight on it. And if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because, as everyone tells you, if you don't do it, you're not be able to keep up with my newest videos or anyone else's newest videos. Okay, so this has been Honest to Critic. As always saying, if you're going to be a critic, be honest. And catch you next time.